Good evening, everybody. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I have sound and it looks like I have picture. It's been one of those weeks. Not going to turn this into a real long, super long video. I know I always say that. Last week I said that and it ended up being an hour and a half. We've had a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. I'm still recovering from what hopefully was the flu from all we found. We actually went down. You can check it out. We went down and had a test. Both of us had a fever and the whole works this past weekend. Don't have COVID or anything like that. Not trying to publicize anything. We were worried. I have lost 2 relatives, so I'm kind of worried. My mom is older, and so are a lot of my relatives, so we wanted to play it safe. I don't want to lose somebody else. So if you get a chance and you need one, don't be in public. Again, personal opinion, do what you want. I can't tell anybody what to do, but we went and did the Walgreens, and you just go to their site. Took about a minute to set it up and tell you if you're qualified. And then it took us 5 minutes from the minute I pulled into Walmart. It's all timed, so we were in and out in 5 minutes for me and the wife. And then an hour later, they emailed us the results. It was really easy. So anyway, just move on from there. Not trying to put that in the forefront or anything else like that, but it was a simple, painless, no shots or anything like that, just a swab in the nose, both nostrils, so no big deal. So you'll have to excuse me if I still sound a little hoarse. Most of the videos you've been seeing have been something that has been recorded prior, so I do that ahead of time. So, and I've been running around trying to help a relative take care of the estate, so anyway. Hopefully everybody is doing well. Let's holler out. Somebody stole my mouse, I see. I'm sorry, I got several laptops and someone took my mouse and I hate these pads. Hang on just a second. I want to get up to the top because I thought there was a question. You have to excuse me. Sorry about that. Cornelius, welcome. John Doe, welcome as well. Not a reseller, but I did start an eBay shop a couple of months ago and find these content very helpful nonetheless. Well, good to have you in. Let's see here. Hey, Karen, how are you doing this evening? Let me slide down just a little bit more. Fio Oxa. Why my 50,000 listings gone away? If you don't have a store, I think there was an end to the 50,000 listings on October 1st, if I'm not mistaken. I have a store. I don't, it's not something I think about very often because I have the store. I worry about what my stuff does. So I would guess you probably don't have a store and it's just charging you the flat, which 30 cents, I believe, was the per item price without a store, if I remember right. I think when I had a store, it was like 20 cents or something for any listing, no matter what, without a store, but obviously that's not the case. We pay like we don't even pay that with the price. It's almost nothing per listing these days if you have the store to cover the listings that you have. My guess is check and see what kind of store level you're at if you have a store to begin with. Hang on, I'm sorry. I hate not having a mouse on a laptop. Hey Duncan, how are you doing? Queen Vic higher rate stamped cover. I love covers. Covers are unique. If you don't know what a cover is just an envelope with a stamp and a cancel and a to and a from address, basically. It doesn't even have to have a from address. Some can have artwork on them. Some can be first day covers, which is the first day they issue a stamp. You can send an envelope to them ahead of time. You put it in another envelope and you send it to them ahead of time. And the first day, the very first day that stamp is issued to the public, they stamp it first day issue or first day of issue. Mostly first day issue, and that is the day that it was first mailed, and they mail you the card. I did that as a kid for Scouts, Boy Scouts, years and years and years ago. You had to get so many. I had a postage stamp merit badge. Probably still have it in here somewhere with one of my boxes, but that's a cover. I love covers. I love vintage ones. The ones that are the coolest are like from places or events, like one from Gettysburg or something like that. From the same day would be some phenomenal item to have. But anyway, that's what a cover is. And QV, Queen Victoria, which is where the word Victorian comes from to begin with, if you didn't know. She was like the, I don't know, I can't say founder, but that's where the Victorian era came from, I guess you would say. Queen Vic. QV, Queen Vic. I'm sorry. I say Queen Vic a lot to people because in people in my age or people that I associate with, we all call her Queen Vic. I don't know what everybody else calls her, but it's always Queen Vic on my side. Hey, Dom, how are you doing? I just dropped you a text, actually. I didn't see it till I popped back down here to sit down and send off some stuff. Well, thank you as well, Cornelius, for the support also. Always glad to have people on and enjoying the content. Yeah, see, I talked about COVID and somebody has to hit negative. And I don't really care what people click on the things anymore. It doesn't, it's a waste of my mind power to even worry about it. Not like brag, and I don't care anymore. It doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't affect anything business structure wise to pay any attention to stuff like that. Like on eBay, if I get people that are nasty these days, I just immediately block them. If they say something bad or something threatening or anything, I always report them. Report them instantly. I'll call eBay for those type of things every single time. And in some cases, though they can't tell you what happens, people can get pulled off. And I personally have had a couple people removed from eBay for saying some really foul things. And one of them was over me not wanting to take an offer of theirs. I kept refusing it for like 4 months. And by the end of the 4 months, they were furious. My wife's even been threatened before. And eBay actually reported that one to the police department. I think we did too, that specific one. eBay ended up turning over their records on that one, from what I understand, from the police department, not from eBay, but anyway. Alex, thank you for the Atari lesson. I just had an auction closed for a sealed Star Master game. I remember Star Master, honestly. I have a couple Ataris here right now with a big bag of games. I got controllers still in the boxes unopened and a whole bunch of stuff. In fact, I've got a video coming out. If I wasn't so busy, I would have had stuff up already, but I'll show you what this is. I'm sure someone out there will know, but you'll see this in the video. Just been driving the dogs nuts today. But anyway, I got a carload of stuff. 300 pounds of vintage toys came in today. Not today, I'm sorry. I did the video, uploaded the video today. But I got 300 pounds of stuff sitting here. All kinds of stuff. And you'll see it in some videos. The Patreon video going up as well. I said it's a bolo. It's a bolo on toys. And you're going to get to see close-ups. And I'm going to show you the difference between brands on some of the vintage figures and things like that. I got a whole bunch of Lionel train set pieces. And, geez, a lot of Britons, lead soldiers and stuff. Early wooden toys, just a whole bunch of stuff. Stuff I just don't run into very often, but it was bought in bulk. And some gold. And some nice cufflink collection, all railroad-related cufflinks. Good ones. I mean, some really good stuff. Stuff I just don't see very often. Anyway, that's coming up tomorrow. You'll get to see that one tomorrow. Either way, the Patreon video will still be up today because it's the first one I uploaded. So Patreon, as soon as this is over, you'll get to see the close-ups. And some discussion. It's the first part. It's going to be it'll probably be a good hour and 20 or better by the end of it, I think, for the toy one, because I'm adding on as I go because I got some more here that I've been sorting through. I got a massive quantity. If you ever buy in bulk, I think the biggest drawback on bulk is having to sort it if it's a bunch of little items. Time-wise, it's not like a hit money-wise. It's just I don't like wasting time on stuff like that. And unfortunately, with those sort of toys, I'm the only one here who knows them. I don't mind the newer 70s or 80s because the kids have figured those out. Our kids, my youngest knows all those toys. Pretty darn good. He goes with us, obviously, when we hit the shows. Obviously, I haven't done that in a while, but sorting out random... I'll grab just a couple here because I got them. My whole place is full of toys, random figures and stuff like that. These are from the 30s too, but trying to make sure they're all authentic and stuff like that. Because sometimes when you get lots, big massive lots, there might be some reproductions or repaired pieces in there. And I don't like selling anything unless I'm sure. And anyway, tomorrow, if you're interested, that will be up tomorrow. Let's pop down and see what else we got going on here. Hopefully Dom's doing well. I haven't had a chance to see any videos for geez, it's probably been 7 days since I watched anything from anybody else, I think. Last week sometime, just because of all the stuff going on with some family issues and some estate issues that I'm trying to help somebody with. So anyway, Applebee's Attic Treasures. I finally joined on Patreon this week. Worth every bit, well, every dollar, I guess. Thank you very kindly. Again, there'll be another video on Patreon up today, still tonight. It's done right now. In fact, if I look over here, I'm pretty sure I can close that off. Yeah, it's done right now. So as soon as the show's done today, I'll just click a couple buttons and you'll see the first part. You might miss some in the Patreon video for those in Patreon if I might mention some of the stuff in the YouTube video. I plan to have this scheduled out differently. I didn't have a video up at all last night on YouTube or anywhere else. Just FYI. By the time I hit the door here, it was really late. I hadn't eaten, and you know, I'd been up again just like today. The minute my feet hit the floor in the bedroom, I was literally moving every minute. I don't think I had much. I didn't even watch anything. I got some blurps on the news and stuff, and that's about it for the entire day. And it's not usually my typical, but you help out and you do what you can for family and stuff like that. At the end of the day, I think that's really all everybody has, you know, that's hopefully going to be there. I know family isn't great sometimes, but, you know, I just got so many toys all over. You'll get to see some cool toys, I promise you. It's everything covered in toys today. Hey, Carl. How's Carl in sunny Florida? Hopefully you are doing well. Charles right down below. Hey, Charles, how are you doing? Mr. Hale, hey Bob, how are you doing this evening too? I think there was a couple questions left that I responded to in Patreon on the post page too. If you post something on those pages, always check back, because I might have a question before I can give you an idea on price or age or anything else like that. So I think there's a couple answers that I was waiting on, style, color, or something, if I remember right. Noble Hyatt on Poshmark, how are you doing this evening? Deep End of the Sandbox. That's a pretty cool name. I like that. That's kind of reminiscent of some of the movies we watched, like The Sandlot, I think it was called, with the kids. I'm sure there's some folks that know what that is out there. If you got kids, you probably have seen most of the same movies. I was scanning through, I think it was Netflix, and I remember watching Shark Boy and Lava Girl with the kids when it came out. And I found one of the figures. It's the only reason I'm bringing this up. And I didn't remember that they made a figure of Shark Boy and Lava Girl. And I think I got them both in here. If you ever get those figures, and I wished I had more sitting out here, but I don't want to dig and have the whole counter full. They're worth a few bucks. I think we sold one maybe 6 or 7 months ago for like 15 or 20 bucks, and it was Shark Boy. I think Lava Girl is like see-through reddish, and the Lava Boy is the blue figure with the hair and all that. But anyway, it's one of those oddball action figure giveaway things. I think it was McDonald's or something, maybe. Maybe there were action figures. I don't remember. I didn't look at them very closely. When I get that kind of stuff in, I love looking through them because I remember so many as a kid. And it's kind of cool sometimes to remember some of those as your kids' toys, too. You know, I have fond memories of my kids growing up, obviously. They're much older now. Both of them are in college right now. I don't want to miss anybody. Are you a collector? Well, good evening as well. It is Halloween coming up real quickly here. Rain or snow, sleet or anything, I've got a Halloween show going on, and I'm going to give away a couple of nice things on the show. Some stuff of value, some stuff for your business. So if anybody's interested, it's going to be me wearing a costume. We've got some shots we already shot ahead of time to intermingle in there. I'm into a lot of things. I love cosplay and the whole works. I have no problem whatsoever making, buying, or dressing up as pretty much anybody that I personally like. If you check some of my pages, you'll see me dressed as a Tusken Raider in full outfit. We made it from head to toe, all four of us. I think on my Facebook page I have like Thanksgiving photos of us all sitting in Tusken Raider outfits, me with the gun and all that kind of stuff around the dining room table, all decked out in the 1920 style. We did A Clockwork Orange. We were Droogs, Alex and the Droogs one year. I've done all kinds of stuff. I did, I can't say the title of the Mother Lover. I can't think the name of the group that they are, but we did an SNL one year too with, this is years back, with Timberlake and whatever with, I'm not going to again say it, I almost said it, In a Box, I'll just say. We've done a lot of screwball stuff. I don't mind dressing up, so I love Halloween. I love the costumes. I would love to go to Dragon Con every year in my life. I would love to go to Comic Con, Sci-Fi Con. Maker Faire, any of those. In fact, they have a Maker Faire, a small one here in Detroit well, it's in Dearborn at Henry Ford Museum, which I will go to the next one. We were planning this year, but obviously events are, pretty much done with. But I get into making all that stuff. In fact, I almost brought down a hat. I made a Napoleon hat for myself. Well, we made it together, but I make all kinds of stuff. He's got a costuming class right now, and he's taken some pretty interesting classes for video and film and stuff. I know somebody who graduated from that program, and he worked for Fox, Phoenix, doing Saturday morning cartoons, and then he did, I think he did some work for ILM and Lucasfilms from the degree here. In fact, he had some other work that got published, I think, too. But anyway, that's Toledo University. That nose swab sucks. I will say sucks today. Yeah, my eyes were watering. My nose was already running from whatever we had, and the flu's going around. I didn't realize it was so soon this year. I don't pay attention. I usually don't get a flu shot. I know they say yes and get it and that and this and that, but we've been just going by the judgment and the comments from my son's cardiologist. So whatever they say is what I do. I don't care what that's what I do. Sandra, how are you doing this evening? Hot Florida. I spent 10 years in Florida, so I know most of Florida as well. If you go to the Maitland Art Center, anybody in Florida, I've got a piece of artwork that they purchased. It's in that museum, and UCF has a piece of mine. I was accepted in a part of the state art purchase program, so you had to have 2 pieces bought, and I had 2 pieces bought. Anyway, long story short, Rihanna, well, thanks. Background I loved. Again, Halloween show. It's backgrounds. Full costume and the whole works. As I said, I've already dressed up as it went, so if you notice, my beard was almost nothing for a day or so. That's why. I have to shave for the character I'm doing. I had to apply makeup to my face and some other stuff too. So let's just say it's a full-blown thing. We were going to go to the comic fair in Detroit just to see, but again, all that stuff's not going on. But hey, Nancy, how's Nancy doing? Well, thank you, Dom. Primetime Treasure Hunter in the house. I know I called him out a minute ago, but it's always good to see Dom in the house. We did plan a show that was supposed to have already happened, and I did have to cancel it on Dom with everything going on. I do apologize. My life these days has been pretty hectic, and I'm really trying to help out some other folks at this point. It's hard when you're not working and stuff, and I can help some people do some things and stuff, and whether I should or not, it's a family, and it's something you want to do. So anyway, and Penny right below, how's Penny doing today? This evening, I should say. You can't trick or treat this year, from what I understand. I'm not a big one on group Zooms. It doesn't do much for me, but I will, as I said, dress up. When you're going to see some clips, it's going to be a contest. Somebody's going to win it. The winner is going to be announced on my Instagram feed under the Auction Professor that evening. So that's where it's going to be. So if you're not on Instagram, on my Instagram page, I honestly recommend it. If you haven't seen, go back 2 years ago when I dressed up as Gene Simmons in the full Kiss outfit, the whole, Demon Knight outfit from Kiss Alive, and from Night at the Opera or whatever they did, the 1 hour TV special movie. Thank you, Gail. And Mr. Elmore, hey Steve, how are you doing this evening? The auction prefer. Is there a minimum of sales you have to do before you can get managed payments? They're doing it. I think it's a mix. Again, I'm only can tell you what I see. I talk to a lot of people. Obviously, I hear in I don't always get time to respond, but I do read a bunch, probably about 30% of the comments on any average day. Some days I read them all. It just depends on how much time I have. The majority of people that I see that are already on it looks to be a mix of people with massive stores, and then a mix of some moderate, where I'd probably fall in the middle somewhere, and then some smaller stores. I don't know rhyme or reason, but my guesstimate by people I've talked to, it might be length of time you've been on the site. again, this is just from my own personal observation, as well as several other people that I talk to on a fairly regular. That's my opinion. That's what I think they're doing. If they flooded the entire system all at once, even if it worked, there would be some folks that weren't sure on everything, because unless you read every single piece of paper out there about what was going on, you could easily miss any type of figure, percentages or fees or anything like that. And I'm cautious on that. I did read it all. As boring as it was, I was eating and I was reading it while I ate. So you're going to miss something. So if people are going to miss something and they do everybody all at once, even again, if there's no issues whatsoever, they're going to be inundated with phone calls, and they wouldn't be able to handle all the questions and comments or complaints or whatever else was going on. I understand. I'd never would do that personally as a person who does IT. You know, I got a degree in the thing for credit, and I would never do that. So they're doing it right. I'm sure somebody recommended. They probably hired an IT, what do you want to call, what's the position called? Oh, I can't think what you call it, but an IT guy came in there, an analytical guy, an analyst, and then he set it up. I mean, I took database design and construction. Somebody came in and had to tell them this and tell them that, and that you don't want to roll this all out. They probably tested it. Usually you test it, you know, in a virtual PC or something. You might have 50 or 60 running different virtual PCs running, and you'll test it on those. You'll run the programs in a virtual PC for, you know, months sometimes if you want to test it right. At least that's what I would do. You know, we've done some of that in college, but let's see, where are we? Susan Arrington, how are you doing this evening? There's Daryl. I have to thank you too, Daryl. I don't know what was up with my feed last week. Daryl, thank you very kindly for the super chat last week. I didn't see it till literally I already clicked end, and I was trying to rush in and leave a comment. And Fred, we had two super chats that I did miss last week, so I do want to thank you both. I did make a note of it. Unfortunately, my note's not right here. I know it's Fred and Daryl were the two, so thank you very kindly, Carolina Picks, for last week. Yeah, I saw that Dom had a nurse flipper, I think is what the name was on there. My mom was a nurse. My wife's mom was a nurse, so, you know, and we have a good friend who's a nurse, and she goes to disaster. She's I can't think what it is, but she's on the team when something happens. She was down there for the hurricane, and she lives down there in tents, for crying out loud, so I don't see what she can get out of it other than actually wanting to help people. So anyway, and she was in Florida, and she was in New Orleans, and the whole works. So I do like nurses for the most part. I've you know, one of them was so kind when my wife, we lost the child. She delivered a stillborn. So, you know, the nurses were just, oh my God, they were incredible. So anyway, Hey Annie, how are you doing? Her Majesty is what you call her. Okay, well, Her Majesty would be the current, in my mind, would be the current queen versus Queen Victoria back then. It depends. I know I talk to a lot of British folks and Australian folks, and if I say I've said that before, and they thought I was talking about the current queen, you know. So I don't know. It is what it is. Whatever you want to call it. I'll call her Vicky. Hello loud. Yeah, I don't think she'd like Vicky, Dom. Photographed some Victorian trading premium cards today. Blown away by your knowledge of these from your video the other night. Takes me ages to research these. Well, thank you very kindly. I would imagine you're probably referring to the Patreon video. Let me slide down again. I wished I had another mouse. I'm going to have to go buy like a 2-pack. We get a lot of our technical products, mouses and stuff like that off of Newegg. If you know what that is. Newegg, I think is what it is. You can sell other stuff on there. There's action figures and all kinds of stuff. So if you want another site, check it a Newegg. I don't know what the rules are on it too much, but we buy a lot of stuff off there, and I've never had an issue of any site. I don't sell on there, but I was looking for something, and one of the Chrome searches I was doing pulled the same item up, and I'm like, there's no way this is a Newegg item, and sure enough, it was. And I also notice you can sell on Sears platform too. Now, I don't know how extensive Sears allows you to sell on their platform, but the same toys that we were looking for Christmas items for somebody, We're on Sears as well, which it's not a toy that a main toy line would carry at Sears. It is something from a smaller seller, without a doubt. So there's other platforms that no one's talking about at all, Sears and Newegg, that sell vintage used toys. Believe it or not, I was floored away looking this up. I learned something new on other platforms and sites. No, I'm not going to rush out and do anything with it with anything really, until after December. And if we don't slow down in January, I'm going to hold off until we start to slow down a little bit, because usually January and February are huge for us as well too. It's like a 4-month period that's the highest point. It's not super, super high from what it is normally, but we don't have that big drop-off like a lot of people do in summer. I mean, I can still sell a $13,000 month on eBay in the summer in just toys and just junk. So for me, that's a plus. I don't have that decline that people talk about. Even right now, it depends on how much work you put into your store, I guess, is the biggest thing that a lot of people just don't. I put it up and forget about a lot of stuff. Don't get me wrong, but I check out things. I scroll through items. I look at my store fairly often. I know I had a video up the other day, and there's some typos in the description before, because I had a lot of people say something about that. That listing was from 2018, and I just pulled one up because of space in a bin. So if you look at my number structure, we'll back up exactly what I'm saying. F30 is way down the lines. We're on like X542 sequentially wise. So anyway, at this point, I'm not going to waste the time to go back in and adjust them. Most people don't even seem to read my description anymore at all. You know, in most of the descriptions, I pretty much just gear and put as much as I can in the condition box. If it's a lot, I put the lot of so many cards appears to be in such and such condition, so I can justify the use of putting that type of term in there. Usually they just scan down so far and stuff like that. At least that's my take on it, because nothing like that ever affects it. As long as it's a good item and something that somebody wants, they're not going to worry about the rest of it, especially in fourth quarter right now. I'm not behind on what we wanted to do, but I wanted to be farther. I've made my totals already like a couple weeks ago for the entire year with everything that's been going on, with eBay giving us the huge amount of money back from no extra listing fees to, you know, sales just still coming in. And we haven't listed as much as I usually do because of things going on and employees back to college and stuff. So I don't have a complaint right now. I'm not trying to belittle anybody who is or anything else like that. You know, I'm just going with telling you how it is right now. I don't know what else to put it. You know, if you sell the right items, it's gonna sell. I mean, or if you have the right items, I should say. I don't know how else to say it. And if you work at it, you're going to get better at it. You're going to figure out what sells, what doesn't sell, and then you're going to be able to steer your inventory more towards stuff that first you like, if that's what does it for you. Second, that's easy to store. Third, that's easy to ship. And fourth, the biggest one that I would say, it's stuff that doesn't get returns almost never. You know, that's a plus for it. You know, those are the big things that I think about. And because I have people, you know, say, you know, well, clothing this and clothing that, it takes longer to do this or longer to do that. You know, there's a quick way to do almost anything you put out there. If you got a description box and you want to use the same description box for every item, all you do is you put up for auction or up. Again, I don't care if it says auction bid or whatever the case may be. As a buy it now with best offer, it's almost an auction because you're letting people put bids in on the item. So that's why I don't worry if it says up for auction, because a bin with a BO is basically you're accepting, it's like a sealed bid is what it is, which is an auction. So even though eBay says a bin BO is not an auction, it technically probably in some states may even be considered an auction as far as I know, just again because a sealed auction will take sealed offers on something. You refuse it, they can come back and somebody else can come back and bid much higher than that person, and you would accept that one. That could all happen before you accept or do anything. The bids sit for 48 hours. I think you can adjust it now to like 24 or 12 or something. I just whatever it's on, and I don't do much buy-in on eBay very rarely. Usually just buy supplies, and there's no buy it now with the best offer. So you know, there's a lot of things you can do. If you put down in the description, up for auction is this vintage original item, that can qualify for every single item that I list that's vintage. So I never change the description box. I might put, I have other items up if I've got many of the same ones, but I only have to do that once. There's so many easy ways to shorten your listing time frame to get as much items as you can up. I have a template for almost everything. So if I want to do a postcard, I just click a button and I've got a template all set up for a postcard. All I got to do is figure out where I'm going to store it and off I go. If I want to do, you're going to see me do toys. I was talking about, I'll probably do a video and show you how many toys I can get up, random different toys. I'll split them up of different random items, just so you can see. You can still get 20, 25 items up in an hour easily, even random items with 5, 6 photos for each item. I'll probably beat that odds. The video I did the other day about showing you how many listings I can get up, if you equate that out, that's me getting up probably, what would that be? Because it was 26 minutes to get 20 listings up. So I could get over 40 listings an hour. And I was talking, I messed up and stuff like that because I wasn't paying as much attention because I was videoing, but I can get 50 items up in an hour if they're like items. And if they're not like items, I can get half that up, 20 to 25. So 40 to 45 like items, same niche. 20 to 25 an hour if they're just random, any kind of items. I could get 25 pieces of clothing up in an hour. It's busting it, but you definitely can do it. It costs you a little more time to, get a few more photos and to get measurements if you're going to do measurements. But when I was doing clothing, I tried to buy stuff that I didn't have to mess with measurements. It just had the tag. If it was a shirt, it had a tag. It said the size. Even so, I got a few sealed NOS shirts up still. I got a couple left. We sold like 60 of them for, I think the lowest I got was $32 out of them. And I paid $4 a piece for them. I had a whole mass of them, but I just photographed the label and I was done. I haven't had a single one returned or anything. So I hate clothing. I despise it. Let me slide on down here. Sit and go. Queso, I'm sure I pronounced that poorly. I'm sorry. Would a couple hundred Life magazines for $25 be worth getting to part out advertising and such? It depends. 60s to 80s. No, I wouldn't mess with 60s to 80s Life magazines. I would only go back if they were, say, 30s through maybe 50s-ish. The ads you'll get aren't as wanted because they were mass produced. Now, if you get some of the older ones, the size of some of the magazines. Let's talk about print ads for just a second here. Most of the magazines were the same size. So the print ads in those same size magazines were almost always the exact same print ad that you would see in another magazine. Now, bigger size, like Life or Saturday Evening Post, they're bigger. So those ones had to have a different ad if they didn't crop up. If you couldn't crop them up at I don't know how to explain it. I don't want to go into a bunch of details, but if you couldn't crop them up, they had different ads in some of those. So depending on the shape, the size, like a TV Guide ad, obviously from the 50s or 60s, is going to look much different than an ad in a Life magazine or a Time magazine. Time's smaller. So sometimes certain eras and certain time frames of ads are worth more in a certain magazine than another one, and from what I see, because they're harder to come by. Early National Geographic had a lot of cream of wheat ones on the back cover, or like Puck had a bunch of the real neat cream of wheat ones on the back. Those are better than most of the other cream of wheat ones you'll see anywhere else. And cream of wheat has a high collectability, if you didn't know that, on some of the print ads. A lot of print ads don't go for a fortune, but cream of wheat ones, usually you can get $15-20 fairly easily if it's a good one or an earlier one, because they go back to like 1890 something, the cream of wheat. And there's a ton of people that probably collect them. There might even be somebody on here who knows exactly what I'm talking about. I wouldn't buy. I mean, you could possibly sell them in big lots, I guess, but if you want to sell them individually, the only ones that might be interesting in there would be the Batman cover one. That one goes for like $65. If it's got the Batman one in there, and I don't know, go to a comp search, look up Batman Life magazine, and go by that, and you source it. He's jumping up, flying. It's got Adam West on the cover of it with the big white background. I've had like 20 of those. I usually get like 40 to 60. If that's in there, yes. There's a couple Beatles ones that go for 10 or 15. A death one, unfortunately, I hate to say it that way, but if somebody's died and they're doing like an expose on the cover, sometimes those are okay too. It'll be hit or miss. Without knowing what's in there, they could have picked out all the good ones, and they're just selling you the ones that won't sell whole or won't sell each. So look into them. If the Batman one's in there, I would get it. Beatles ones, it's a little iffy because there may only be one good one in there. They may have spiked the lot, meaning that they put one or two good ones and they're trying to get you to buy it. I don't know. I'm just telling you what I've seen in my day of doing this, especially at auctions. You got to be really careful because a lot of the auction companies, they'll take a bunch of stuff that they couldn't sell before and then mix it and match it into new lots, put it on a table and act like it's new merchandise. And if you're not paying attention, you may not realize, hey, I saw that 2-3 weeks ago or 2 months ago they had it. They'll store them and they'll mix and match later on. I do that for what I sell on eBay. But again, they can see what it is. Something doesn't sell singly, I dump it together in a lot and I move on. End of story. Don, Jason T. Thrifts is also a great channel like yours and Dom's. Nothing beats when... I have no idea who Jason T is at all. No idea whatsoever. Good morning. Sorry. Hey, Kathy, how are you doing? Let me bop down a little bit more down here. Well, thank you, Kathy. Yeah, see, Annie's telling you about the Life magazine. Although, as I said, there is a couple issues of Life from the 60s that are worth good money. And that, as I said, is the Batman, Adam West cover. It's got to be the one where he's jumping up in the air and he's like flying like a bat, kind of. Hey, Wendy, how are you doing? Yeah, I'm on several laptops, so excuse me. I started collecting Britons just for fun. Since I started, I haven't found one. Laugh out loud. Carl Classine EX. I bought like I got like 400 of them probably, and then I see them probably once or twice a month. I can buy a big lot of them. Some are broken, some are not. I can repair them if I want to. And I can literally either solder or remelt the lead. My son's got all those stuff. If you ever watch, he's got a kiln, and we can get up to 2,300 degrees Fahrenheit and melts even cast iron these days. He's been messing with cast iron a lot, casting some cast iron. Yeah, I love sorting, Annie. Definitely so. The only thing I say is I get too much into it and I waste too much time. I was playing around. I had Lone Ranger and Tonto, the Gabriel 3 3/4 inches. I got all the Dukes of Hazzard. I got Love Boat figures. I found the whole set of actually a whole bunch of this stuff. I mean, I ended up playing with them because I remember them when they came out. I got some 1977 and through 80 Star Wars figures in there, and I mean, I had them all. I had the originals, so I get lost sometimes in nostalgia with them. So yeah, I do like it. It's the worst part because I get too drawn in. It's the only thing. I'm too into the stuff I buy, I guess, is the problem. I'm too much into it that I like to examine it and, you know, I guess drool over having some of this stuff. Button-wise, I got cases of buttons. One of these days, maybe I'll do a video just panning across a bunch of buttons and talking about them real quickly or something. If anybody's interested, military buttons, uniform buttons. We are putting some books together. I'm still working on a 78 book. I mean, every month I get a couple dozen photos on average. Obviously, it's going to be a long time. I may end up, if I can't do it by a certain point, just put, you know, a description of what the label looks like. I hate to do that. I really don't want to put a book out that's not complete. But at this point, people just don't want to share. They hoard the photo information. Apparently, I'm not in their circle of buddies, I guess. Let's see here, Duncan. Statement: if you sell old stamps, scan them in high resolution crop. That's, yeah, 600 DPIs is what I always do. I recommend that every time. Anything small is always 600 DPIs. When you get a picture, if you want to know quality, you want to figure it out, as long as when you hover over the image it fills most of the screen on the zoom in enlargement, you're good to go as long as that looks good. I never just pay attention to the image. I know my DPIs these days, so I always just shoot for 600 DPI. I never change it, even though I probably could for some bigger items. But it's the same way for everything, so I never have to worry, did somebody change the DPI or anything else like that. And just to address this, because I had quite a few people make a comment, I know that you can upload several photos at the same time, but people get to be a little too quick, and if they do multiples at the same time, I found too many times on our side that they'll upload the wrong photo. They'll do 3 in a row, and there'll be a photo. Sometimes the photos that are supposed to be are there, but there may be one extra and stuff. And that's just one thing. I don't want to be confusion on what is or isn't included. I got people that list, so it's not me always doing everything. In fact, it's usually somebody else listing. So just to make things simple, it's just one way for everything and not mess with it. I know it might save you a few minuscule seconds, but I'm fine with somebody being able to list 40 or so listings an hour. Even 50 obviously is better, but I'm fine with that just because I know it's a little more controlled on the list. And one more answer to several people's questions. Again, I'm just trying to answer some questions generally here because I saw the same ones over quite a few times. The numbers, like an F30 in the video, that is a location bin number. Behind me are my little tubs. I don't want to pull out because I've just got toys stacked everywhere, but literally every tub has a number on it, and every shelf has a like a corresponding name or number to that as well too. So I can tell where everything is. If a box or bin's out of place, I know where its home should be. So I always know where to go if there's a number. I don't even have to look anymore. I'm going right here. I know where the thing is. So all those numbers like that, 3 digits, whether it's like X542, are all bin location numbers. I know there's a custom SKU, but it's just so much easier for all my employees not to have to worry about anything else. It's just easier just to have it in the title and be done with it. That's my take on it. I mean, I know people say, hey, you shouldn't have it in the title, but it's just easier. When people ask, well, how do you keep track of 25,000 items in the store you got now? It's like 27, I think, but I keep the numbers readily available. Again, we're on multiple stores. We're on multiple platforms, so you got to have some sort of difference. I do have some that are labeled with an A, and that's the Amazon-only items that don't go up on eBay. You know, I've got stacks of stuff that have never seen the light of day on eBay, but they've been on Amazon for a good long time. There's more chance that somebody can figure out what I'm selling and snake my stuff out there if I do that, and I don't want the competition, so I don't list stuff on eBay, everything either. Some stuff will always sell better on Amazon, and that's where it goes, or on Etsy, or wherever the case may be. Just like record-wise, lower value records would go on Discogs, higher value records would go on eBay. 78s that are higher value or something more sought after will definitely go up on Amazon. Like a specific disc by Glenn Miller, and I'm not going to shout out specifics, but a Glenn Miller disc I could sell on there's a bunch of them, so it's not just a specific one, but a specific Glenn Miller disc I could probably get 20 to 25 on eBay, and it would sell within 2 months or so. That same disc on Amazon I can get 45, and it'll be gone in a week or two. So there's a difference on certain ones. People may not even necessarily be looking for a record on Amazon, but they may be looking for Glenn Miller. They want this song, you know, so a record shows up. And if they're a Glenn Miller fan, a lot of Glenn Miller fans who are really into the boogie of the swing beat boogie and all that kind of stuff of Glenn Miller, they probably have a Victrola sitting at their house. I know a lot that do, and I mean a lot. I've sold the same Glenn Miller records, the same exact one, probably 40 or 50 times. And not just one, there's dozens of them that are good like that. But anyway, it's stuff like that you got to know, of course. But the Australian Posse, well, that's a good name, Annie. I like that too. Hey, Cat Lam, how are you doing? Didn't mean to miss you. Thank you very kindly as well. If you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. I got almost 130 people on right this minute. I know I probably didn't have a push-out notice either. I wasn't sure what my day was going to be today. I was trying to get ready, actually, a video to post just in case, and I didn't even have time to finish that because I used several of the videos I backed up with, and I don't have any new video or any videos hanging that aren't edited or anything at this point. I want to figure out the rare My Littlest Pet Shop. I see those all the time. Carl Class and X. In fact, I got some here. I got some in the slot. I do have some of those. The heads bobble, yeah. Or am I thinking of? Hang on. Yeah, it's the Pet Shop. It's the Pet Shop ones. I got a bunch of those in there. I think there's 2 sizes, if I'm not mistaken, too. You just got to figure out which one's which. There's a site out there, I think. Maybe it's mylittlepetshopguide.com, maybe. I've got it saved, but almost any toy that I get, Hogate, Hogate, I got some Hogate items just the other day. And there's a site that shows every single one that was ever made. Hogate's a company that does a lot of wooden toys, and I picked up a whole bunch from 1942 the other day. I got the model number and everything off that site. It took me like 10 seconds to get exactly what it is just by quickly scanning through the photos. Most items like those sorts of toys, you can find, oh geez, I can't show you now, but maybe I'll do a video on my toolbox favorite places. I've got a little toolbox, and it has nothing but links to my resources. I got sites for silver. I've showed videos where I've shown you, like, I don't know, maybe 10 in a video before. I've got probably 100 different sites that we use. Not all the time, of course, but it just depends on what comes in. There's a good one that I use, and it's got Weebles on it too. And I'm brain dead. I click on a link, and it says Weebles in there. But it doesn't just have Weebles. It has Fisher Price Little People. It has the Adventure People, Fisher Price Adventure People. And then I got like sites that have every single little golden book. And on that same book site, you can go and track other book lines like I Can Read sets. Some of the I Can Read books go for some decent money. One of my favorite illustrators and authors on the I Can Read set that do fairly well is Crosby Bonsell, and you can look her up. She's I think it is a lady, if I'm not mistaken, but she's got a whole bunch. I keep saying she. I don't want to offend anybody. I'm not sure if it's a male or female. I'm not sure what Crosby as a first name would be, male or female. I'm lost on that one. But anyway, I do like some of those I Can Read. And Parents Weekly Magazine kids books. There's a whole site on those too, and some of those, like Mrs. Twiggly's Treehouse and stuff like that. There's some of those school books that can go for, geez, 50, 60, 70, 80, $200 easily as a first edition, even if it's not in great condition. And again, I got videos on some kids books. I do great in kids books. It's easy to ship, easy to store. I can get them for 29 cents to 59 cents a piece pretty much anywhere I go, or less in bulk. And I can usually get $8 to $10 easy. They take, I can probably list about 35 of those an hour. So it's a good thing. A lot of people worry about this and worry about that. If you can list enough of anything an hour and you're going to get a set amount, it's worth your time to list them because you'll have so much up and so much more opportunity to sell something. If you only list like 2 or 3 items an hour because it takes so long to describe them, photograph, measure, and write down stuff and look at every little aspect of it, you know, even though you might make a little more money, your time frame and the fact that you're banking all your money on this one item or 2 items or 3 items or whatever it takes you to list an hour might be hurting your business. So it's not always the best for everybody just to worry about getting high dollar items all the time. As long as you're able to list a mass quantity of something, it's a huge plus, and it's an investment in your business because once it's done, it's always up. It's just there. And if as long as you know they're good items to begin with, they're going to sell at some point. You know, even if you don't list new items, you're going to have a constant steady flow of income if you get enough listings up. You know, it's just, you know, the facts of the numbers there. The quantity beats all in my book if it's, again, not junk, as long as you're listing good items. As long as all the items I put up have potential to sell in the price range I put them in, I don't worry. Or I'm smart enough to go back in and check to make sure that the items are, you know, going at that price, or I'm not, you know, I'm getting some kind of traction on them. Usually my items are all in the same type of category, so. Book Retro Bar in Australia, how you doing? Another Aussie, of course. I think there's half a dozen in the house right now, maybe. I know there's 2 people who I talk to from Australia who do not chat. They don't put their name out anywhere, but not a problem. I don't mind that at all. I don't care if anybody jumps on or not jumps on, but got 142 on. If we can like it, if you're enjoying the conversation, I do like to get to the 100 figure. It's going to be a little shorter show today. My eyes probably have bags in them. I've been working from pretty much 6:30-ish till 11 o'clock at night every day for the last few days. I got to catch up, I feel like, all the time. To all Aussies, Fed Budget has some grants available for startups, so check out the budget in depth. Money available for equipment and inventory. Well, that's pretty cool. Now it's something to do with it. I made a ton on Skylanders last couple of weeks that everyone else passed on. I got a box of Skylanders up here that I've had for a little while. Skylanders, if it's the first series, some of those can go for some big money, and some of the bigger ones. I passed on, I think it was like 72 Skylanders in the box, but they were all new ones. Some of them were like maybe they were a Target or something exclusive or something. And I looked them all up. There was a couple that were good, and the price, they wanted a lot of money for them. I don't mind spending a lot of money, but I wasn't going to sit there and piecemeal them and stuff. And I didn't want to have to pack them all up together. But there is some good money, I assure you. We've sold some loose for, like 60 and 70 bucks in the past before. Skylanders can go pretty good. I don't know how it's a game. There's a portal. I got some little portal pads. You put them on. I guess there's a chip in them or something. And you can see the character on the screen, maybe. I don't really know. I didn't look too much into it. You don't have to know always what the thing does. You just have to know if it's in good condition, and you have to know enough to title it in the price. It's all that really matters in my book. It does help if you know a little something about the thing itself, but... where are we at? Yeah, I do like the artwork and stuff with Skylanders. It reminds me of some of the other stuff out there. I feel it came from old TSR figures and stuff like that. Most any of this, I think TSR in my book is one of the founding reasons why you have a lot of the RPGs and, well, we know because of RPGs, but the video games and stuff with those type of monsters. Any of that kind of stuff, like Resident Evil, even the monsters, the evils in there are going back to things I remember in TSR, Dungeons and Dragons. Brian the Oakbrook Picker, how you doing this evening? Good to see you in here, too. Waiting on another crazy hurricane. Yeah, I saw that, Susan. I lived through a couple. Katrina, we were there for Katrina, for one. And we had another one go over our house in Florida. And I think that's the only time when I worked. For 10 years, I worked at Disney, and they only closed it down once. And that was the time. And then I think they closed it down early. And then the next day it was closed down in the morning, and then we were called back in, I think, at 2. So it was closed down almost a whole day. They made us come in the day of the hurricane, too. I do remember driving home in terrible weather, stuff flying across the road and stuff. And I had to do that once for Applebee's in Mississippi, too, when I was a general manager at Applebee's. And that was Katrina. And, man, it was terrible. I've never been in a car with... I was never worried driving before except that one time. I've been in some hairy stuff, but that time scared the heck out of me because stuff was hitting the car and I could barely see. It took me like an hour and a half to drive, a 20-minute drive. It was just miserable. But I was the last person out the store to make sure everybody else got out and everything. But, man, I'm not a big fan of hurricanes. We did lose a house or two. Let me pop down here a little more. Book Retro Bar in Australia. I'm not sure if you're talking to her, so if you need something on that, just shout. There's a Skylander site, too, on prices as well. I've seen it. I've looked up stuff on it before, because I think if I remember right, and again, I don't have them here, they're behind the wall here, but I think they say most of them on there. I think there's a number like the Pokemon numbering system, too, like a letter, a number, and a letter or something, if I'm not mistaken. Usually if they're not in a box, I just sell them in a lot. I don't even bother looking up which one's which. Well, I guess sometimes I do. If they're a certain series, I don't care as much. Hang on, I hate the pad. Richard in a box. Hey, Aaron, how you doing? I think I missed a couple folks here. Hang on, I think I've jumped my feed here. Yeah, there's Aaron. How you doing, Aaron? Hope you are doing well this evening. Thomas Roberts, big fan here in UK. Going to a car boot sale, yard sale. I know what car boot sales are. This weekend. Do you have any tips on what to look out for, particularly postcards, pictures? In England, I would be hesitant to direct you. Over here, I know U.S. cards sell. For every U.S. card I find, let's say I find 100 U.S. cards, I may find 2 or 3 British cards that are worth selling from over here. That's the difference. I don't know. I'm not saying there aren't good collectors of high-dollar postcards in England, but I think the quantity made was so much more, or what's sent over here is scarce. I would look for some really interesting real photo, real picture postcards, I guess, would be the biggest thing. Steamship liners and things like that over there. Any British liner you might look into. I got a mess of British liner buttons over here, actually, too. So, transportation stuff, I guess, would be a big thing. Does it say where you're at, I don't know where you're at. Like in London area, I know there's a couple, and I talked to people. My wife knows somebody very well, or we worked with her for quite some time. My wife talks to her, and she's from England. We know a couple of folks from Ireland as well. I get a gist on some things that are worth finding over there. You got to weigh shipping and stuff like that. It's hard to say. If you were U.S., I could obviously say for sure. I wouldn't want to steer you in the wrong direction. I don't know what one of your sales is like either, so that would be a little bit worrisome for me. I don't want to give you bad information on something like that. They're out there. Good U.S. small towns and stuff like that are always the best over here. Train depots, sports, early baseball, cricket. Players probably would be good over there, I would say. I've sold some cricket stuff, even to Australia, just the other day, that did very, very well. It was just like $1 card, and I think I got $75 for the last one. Stuff like that I really enjoy. So sports are usually pretty good. Military, probably pretty good. Again, it comes down to price. I don't spend much. I would spend less on a British card to buy because they don't sell as well over here. No disrespect to the country or origin of anything like that, because I don't really care where something comes from. I like all kinds of stuff. I mean, you name it. One of my favorite places when I worked at Disney, I like going to Morocco over there and stuff like that, the World Showcase and stuff. I like the foreign ones over there too. I still remember we went and took some friends. For anybody who's been to Epcot Center, I don't know if the Canada Pavilion's there still or not or what. I haven't even asked. But they used to play a movie called Oh Canada. And you walk in, it's a theater in the round, and the movie is 360 degrees around you. And it's all stand-up, and there's poles, or there were, and you would hold on to the pole. And people would think, well, why'd you want to hold on to the pole? They fly over the Canadian Rockies and stuff. And if flying gives you, motion sickness and stuff, you're going to be sick in this. I've seen too many people throw up in that when they first put it out. And I got motion sickness from watching because it feels like you're flying. I mean, it's just because it surrounds every aspect of your vision. But nice place to go still. I know I sidetracked it there, but anyway. Hopefully that gives you a little idea. Yeah, Aaron, I did think about doing. I'm still up in the air on that. I've got some family commitments to help somebody out, and as long as I have that all done, I don't really care. Florida rules. I did spend 10 years in Florida, as I said. I loved Mount Dora for one. Thank you, Kathy. Should you dress up as well? If you want to. Karen, oh good, a party. Yeah, I wished it was something more personable, but yeah. We're trick-or-treating in Florida, I believe, if you want. People probably sit back from the tables with candy on it and just let them get their own. Yeah, I think it's banned here, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, you can't do it. Harlan Kitten, how are you doing? Well, thank you very kindly. Thank you, kiddo. Speaking of rock, yeah, Eddie Van Halen, yeah, I did see that. Just before I heard the news, I had Hot for Teacher on, and I was like 10 minutes later, I had what's the channel I listen to? Oh geez, it's the heavy metal, not heavy metal, rock. Oh geez, I can't think of the name of it. It's on XM radio. It's right below Ozzy's channel. Oh well, the point is, then they announced it on the channel when I was in the car 10 minutes later. Usually when I'm listening, I got music cranked up over here. Susan Arrington, nope, I've been on 2005 and still not on Ming Pei, huh? Jason Hollibo, how are you doing this evening? Consultant, yeah. See, sometimes I get brain dead. I've been up all day for the last 2-3 straight days. It's grown on me this time. Not burned out, just a little tired. My kids raised me on Eddie Van Halen. I'm a smaller seller, and eBay made me sign up for managed payments. Was told I had 30 days and no more access. All is good, but eBay hasn't used my bank yet 3 weeks ago. If they haven't fully put you into it, you may not. I mean, it may take a little while. I think once I signed up, it took like 30 more days, and then they gave me a date after that point. And then on that date is when it activated. So it was like almost 60 days from the day that they told me I had to sign up for it. Just because you sign up for it doesn't mean it'll start immediately. They run the bank, your bank information and stuff like that. I originally put my bank information in, and then later on they said they couldn't confirm it. and they didn't have the option ready yet to automatic link it. And once that opened up, I automatically linked it, and I never had another issue with it. I haven't had any issues with managed payments yet, other than, well, I don't know if it's an issue because I've had it happen before, where a buyer can't send out a invoice. And since I stopped sending out an invoice immediately after they made the offer and I accepted it, I haven't had it happen again at all. So maybe it's tied with how quickly you send out an invoice if you're combining. And all the ones that would not allow them to pay were all combined invoices, every single one. It wasn't just for one item, any of them that I can remember at all. And again, it happened before managed payments. So I'm thinking, I said before, there must be some sort of delay between the time that you do the action and when eBay actually posts through the account. So I figure it sent out an invoice before it had the items finalized or something. You know, or wherever it goes in their system would be my guess. Margarita, I'm taking a break and relaxing tonight. It's got 1800 in it, if you know what that is. And it's the Applebee's top shelf margarita recipe. Grand Marnier and the whole works. Cointreau. I could pretty much pour you any drink you want. I worked at Applebee's for 3 years. You had to know how to serve drinks. You had to know how to cook all the food as well. If you don't know, when you work at a restaurant, for those who've never ran a restaurant, I've run many restaurants, you got to know how to do everything in that restaurant. You got to know how to put the food away and sort. Everything in that restaurant is your responsibility. And I'm HACCP certified through the USDA. I've got a card and everything. My company spent the money and paid for me to take the classes and stuff, but I worked in a USDA facility, worked directly with USDA representatives because they inspected our facility. And anyway, you had to have a HACCP, HACCP, Hazard Analysis, Critical Control Points for Food. I had all the certificates you could need. I still have my Mississippi liquor license card here somewhere as well, my ABC card for those who are from the area. You have to be bonded and all kinds of stuff back when I did it. So, you know, they run your police records, and you got to get a manager job in a restaurant is a long, drawn-out 90-day process just for the training. Anyway, good that it worked out for you, though, Cat Lob. I am on the list this past weekend. Good to hear. Hopefully it's good for you, but it has been good for me. Thank you, Daryl, for understanding. I honestly rushed to get over there to post a comment to thank you for it, because, again, for some reason it doesn't pop up on mine half the time when I get a super chat. Again, I'm not telling anybody to give me a super chat. It doesn't pop up all the time. The dude abides. I see the dude is in here now. Spill his beer, his drink, his beverage. The Big Lebowski is a fairly good movie if you haven't seen it. John Goodman does a great part when he's wanting them to follow the rules in the bowling alley. I've bowled. There's nothing wrong with bowling. Usually it's just a bunch of people having fun when we went out. So The Big Lebowski is a pretty funny movie. The Dude Abides. That's all I can ever think about when I see the dude. Again, thank you, Daryl. I do appreciate that. You call QE2 Her Majesty 2. Oh, okay. To each his own. I'm into Victorian, so for me it's always Queen Vic. And the stamp-wise, QV, like Duncan was saying before, QV is Queen Vic to me. Anytime I ever see QV, it's Queen Vic. If you even look through eBay and you're wanting to price something, you see QV in the title, you might see like 3p, 3 pence or something, and then you'll see maybe the Stanley Gibbons number or something in the title. And unless you know what all that means, you might be lost. You know, QV, Queen Vic, NH, never. There's a lot of abbreviations and initials for stuff in stamps. I'm British originally, and you would always say Queen Victoria in full. I'm not British, so that's why I say Queen Vic, I guess. I know it's less. I'm not trying to be offensive at all in any way, shape, or form. I don't go into that kind of thing, but I've always said Queen Vic. It's always been Queen Vic. And the stamp people that I know, if you're talking about it's either a QV or Queen Vic. That's what I've always said. Now, if you're going to the local pub, yes, I might be called the Queen Vic. Yeah, I guess that is the difference. So thank you for that good example. That is a good example. I've been to Canada. I guess you can say it's kind of under the crown still. Daryl, Don, I found a 1952 coronation item for Queen Elizabeth. Sizes 11 by 14 would be, yeah, folder with inside pages and Elizabeth picture in the front. It says Korea at bottom, but inside is in English. Any thoughts and price? That was probably a piece made in Korea for the Hong Kong market, would be my guess. Every time I run into something, it's either marked Japan. Again, if you see something that was made in Japan and it's honoring Queen Victoria, to be polite, chances are it was made for the Hong Kong market. Again, because the coronation was obviously Hong Kong was part of the crown for quite some time. We know it's been changed over now. So knowing where something was made in that case is huge. It's a big plus because you can guesstimate what market it is. So that means that Americans could have bought it over there, or, of course, obviously it was made somewhere else. It was made in England or Canada. It was probably a commemorative item sold in Canada and stuff like that. It would depend on what it is. You're welcome to post some photos on the community tab in there, Daryl, if you want. I'll be happy to take a look at it. I'm going to be looking at everything first thing tomorrow. I literally am just relaxing tonight when the show's done, and I'm going to have to end it in just a few minutes here, unfortunately. I said I would go till 8. I'm a couple minutes past, so I'll see if I can get to any... Hang on, let me pop down. Let me just get a couple questions here, and I'll probably try and end it. The Junking Data Girl, how are you doing this evening? I've watched a few of your videos in the past. She's got a real nice one, I think, making some garden, like, maybe it was a fountain. I think you drilled some holes in some jars. Something really neat, something that I thought was cool. But anyway. Let me pop down it. An offer is a good catch, all phrases and description. I guess I'm not getting what you are saying. An on offer is a good catch, all phrases and description. I'm not sure. I'm not following what you're asking, I guess. I use templates too. I love templates, Kathy. Junk Data Girl uses them. Don, you are like holiday special show for me. You give the best holiday. Well, thank you very kindly. Let's see. Patrick Annalore, how are you doing? Patrick's telling you can sell car ads for $8 to $10 from the 1960s life. Yeah, some of the computer ads may sell. It just may take you a long time to get your money back, and you've got work involved to research the price on those. I guess it comes down to how much time and what you want to return on them. Back to the Life magazines that they were talking about earlier. I know I'm behind as always because I do talk too much on some things, but I personally wouldn't mess with them, truthfully, because it would be a long, drawn-out process. And I know people say, well, you got a lot of long, drawn-out processes. But like with the computer ad, unless you got a bunch of computer ads, you're going to sell one to one person, and that would probably be it. If I list a lot of trade cards, a lot of postcards, a lot of photos, all related to this, like a lot of military photos, or a lot of CBS television photos, or a lot of 8x10 movie stills from a press kit or something, if I got like 10 all of like Steve Martin, the chances of me selling several or more than one to one person is really high. So there's a difference on time in my opinion. So some things I just don't mess with. I guess it just depends on what you want to get out of it. Time-wise, if you sell them for 8 to 10, with cost into it, it's hard to say. How many are you going to get out of it that are computer ones from the 80s? It would depend on the years. My dog's down here now. I'm sorry. There's a lot of factors involved in it. It would just be, if you don't know enough about the magazines or the ads, it would take you a long time to price them, I guess, is my concern. If you got a ton of merchandise, I don't know. It's a toss-up. I don't mess with that. I would probably sell it as a lot. I would look for the Batman one first and then go from there. If the Batman one's in it, I'll probably pick out a few that could sell individually, and I might sell them in like 3 or 4 lots and just junk them out and take the Batman as the profit right off the bat. Because if you get the Batman one and you pay $25, you sell Batman for $45 to $60, you already got your money back, you made a profit, and you had nothing to do with it other than pulling one magazine out. The Batman one will sell really quick. It won't be up long as there's no damage. You don't have an address label or anything on it like that. I'm going to end it in just a couple minutes. Let me see if I can get 1 or 2 more questions. Thank you again, Junking Data Girl. Yeah, if I do ads, I just cut the ads out and I throw the magazines in the recycling bin. That's all I ever do. I don't care about cutting them up. the aspect ratio of the ads. I've had lots of jobs at an ad agency making the same ad in different versions for different aspect ratios. Not the most fun job. I have done that as well, too. When I worked at the movie theater, you get a halftone pack, which is an ad campaign, which comes usually in a press book for whatever movie is going to play. And I was the one who would cut it out and set up the ad and put in our we had a little like print ad that we could cut out with our Playtimes and the Greenwood Cinema's logo on it. And I worked at Greenwood Cinema, and I would do the print ads, and I was the one who sent them in the newspaper. And you'd always have to figure out which one to work. Sometimes you'd have to cut one up and squeeze it into the column space, depending on how cheap what the money was to invest in a specific movie. When you do ads for, like Annie's talking about there, when you do ads, whether it's an ad agency or you're doing it for a specific business, if it's a movie-wise, if it's a good movie and you expect it to sell, you can afford more money on pushing that you have that movie. If it's not a great movie, you're running a B-class movie or something like that, you won't want to spend much, so you'll have one column of a 4-column page or something like that. You know, I'm old school. You actually physically cropped it with blue grease pencil, and you had to crop the photos with red, and you had to wax the blocks of text onto the page, like the old school comic book creators and stuff like that. I like that kind of stuff, though. I got Ruby Lift over here still, too, for those who are in print. Annie's probably might be one of the only ones who knows what Ruby Lift is, but anyway. Life magazine ads I store them in I can't show you, but I've got a 3 tall stack. I don't know, they're like drawers. It's three drawer stacks high, and each drawer is about this tall. And I say this because they fit large format sheet music, which I believe is close enough that these all fit in there. I can fit Life magazines in there, the whole magazine if I want, and that's what I use for them. It just depends on what you can find locally. I think I ordered those from Walmart.com, the bins that hold those. I think they're 15 by 11 maybe, or 16 by 12, or 14 by 12, something like that. It's somewhere in that range, but it's a kit. It's got 3 of them. They all stack up on top of each other. I better let it go because it's getting past where I said I would go. I do honestly appreciate everybody coming on. If you haven't hit the like button, please hit that like button. It'd be great to get the last 9 to get me up to that 100 mark on my end here. Again, I try to offer honest, sincere, and helpful information. It does take time. I do in no way make a living off of YouTube at all. If you know anything about YouTube, you can see how many views I get a month, and you can calculate out how much I make off of YouTube. Anybody can do that. There's a ton of formulas to do it. You know, it would just depend on, you know, your specific, RPM, or I can't think of the initials, but you can break it down. It depends on the channel on how many dollars you get per 1,000 views. And in all honesty, no one that I know that has a living off of YouTube. You know, most of my business and money comes from selling. That is my primary, #1, beyond belief business is reselling. And I'm trying to give you information from doing this since, 25 years at this point. You know, take it, you like it, great. Please leave the feedback. If not, you don't have to like it. Whatever you want to do with that. But I do appreciate everybody coming on. I will end it at that, and I do thank everybody as well. If you haven't signed up for Instagram and you want to win the contest, if you're either in Patreon or on my Instagram page, that's how you're going to win and be involved in the contest. I'm giving away stuff that's worth money, as well as some artwork and some other things. Full costume, nice show. Probably see Marky in there, some stuff in there from her as well, too. So I do appreciate it, and I hope you have a good evening. Hope sales are going well for you. Fourth quarter, you better be listening. You better be working on your store.